Hey guys, what's up? It's Bree. Welcome to or welcome back to my channel, whichever one you are. Today we're going to be talking about Jesus Torres or Dahvie Vanity from Blood on the Dance Floor. This video is going to be a little bit different because it's going to be a get ready with me instead of just a makeup tutorial. So with that, I hope you guys enjoy. And I know a lot of you don't know who Jesus Torres or Dahvie Vanity is. However, I'm going to break down who he was, not only on MySpace, before he was a music artist, when he was a hair artist, when he was a music artist and the lead singer of Blood on the Dance Floor, and also now to his current day, who is Kawaii Monster on Instagram. If you didn't know the backstory, he originally started on MySpace as a hair artist called Dahvie the Elite Hair God or whatnot, which, look at this hair, please. It's a wig, first of all. Now, before I continue on with the rest of this video, I want to put a strong trigger warning at the beginning of the video because we're going to be talking about sexual assault and rape allegations, and we might or might not go into details in this video, so I do want to put a very strong trigger warning about those subjects in this video because that is going to be a heavy subject in these videos, not to mention drugging and many other things. We're going to start off in 2006 when Dahvie identified as Dahvie the Elite Hair God on MySpace and constantly drove around Orlando, Florida and did people's hair. Dahvie was convicted of sexual assault not only multiple times back since 2006 before he was even on Blood on the Dance Floor, which the pattern continues to this day where he is still talking to underage women in a predatory way and sexually assaulting them. He moved on from doing hair on MySpace and driving around Orlando, Florida. He started a band which originated as a joke called Blood on the Dance Floor. It had two original members, however they quit because they were not able to tour with Dahvie Vanity, and Dahvie went on tours by himself. In 2008, Javon Monroe joined the band Blood on the Dance Floor and they toured together until 2018. Now, currently in 2020, Dahvie Vanity or Jesus Torres is still currently active on social media, known as Kawaii Monster on Instagram, and sells copyrighted merch, which he could get into a lawsuit for, but let's not talk about that. He also actively still talks to underage girls and women in a sexual manner and is still assaulting multiple women to this day. I forgot to mention this earlier, however, the copyright merch that I'm talking about is on his other Instagram called Dark Arts Official. He has two Instagrams that are currently active. His Kawaii Monster page hasn't been active for a few days, however, he still posts music and everything on it, which Blood on the Dance Floor was taken off Spotify, but he's under a new name now and he doesn't sing in his audios because he knows his music will get taken down. He's also known as Dark Arts Official and Kawaii Monster on Instagram. Now that we explained who he was and who he is, I'm going to start naming off the victims and their age and what happened. There is a long list of victims, so I'm not going to get to all of them. It's above the number of 36, and that is the ones who are coming out. There are plenty more of underage fans and victims who are still being assaulted and groomed to this day. However, again, they haven't came out or they just choose to stay anonymous, and I'm not going to be covering them in respect to them. First victim's name is Diana Farrell. She called a radio show host in 2007 and claimed that she was raped by Dahvie Vanity or Jesus Torres, which is his biological name. The Christian radio show decided to call the police even though she didn't want him to get in trouble or get arrested, which is a typical action by a victim. And she later went on to go on the show with Chris Hansen and talk about it and how she was manipulated into making it seem like she wasn't a victim or it happened consensually, and now she believes that it was not consensual and it was considered rape. Jesus Torres later got off with a slap on the wrist by a police. The second victim is Priscilla Hendry. In 2006, Dahvie drove him and her both to the cinema to go on an alleged date. She was 15 at the time and he was in his 20s. He proceeded to sexually assault her in his car by forcing her head so hard into his crotch that he proceeded to rip out multiple hair extensions. In 2006, another anonymous victim decided to come out, who was the age of 14 at the time, met Dahvie through MySpace, and claimed that Dahvie repeatedly sexually assaulted or groped her and physically assaulted her while he was at his work constantly, and came over to her house and tried to rape her. Once again in 2006, Liz Glitters, who was 13 at the time, came out about Dahvie Vanity's sexual assault. He repeatedly tried to physically assault her and sexually assault her, and lost interest when she said that she was not interested, and became very aggressive towards her and forced her to do it anyways. In 2009, we have Damien Leonhardt, who was 10 at the time. They are quote-unquote the most famous case amongst all of them, because BOTDF made a song called You Done Goofed, making fun of them and their coming out about the sexual assault, and bullied them to the fact that they had their entire fan base bullying them, to the point they almost committed suicide because of it at the 10 years old, after Dahvie Vanity sexually assaulted them. Continuing on to 2010, we have Kay, who was 15 at the time, who met Dahvie at a blonde dance floor show where they exchanged phone numbers, and he later drove her on the bus and physically assaulted her by punching her in the face and forcing her to have oral sex with him. And in 2011, we have 12-year-old victim Ellie, who was also physically assaulted by Dahvie Vanity while her mom left to quote-unquote score drugs, which I do not condone drugs, please, and that is not an excuse to bring any victimization or anything like that or blame onto the victim, because it is not her fault. It was her mother's, and she left her alone with Dahvie Vanity in his hotel room, knowing the allegations that he has already had on him. The last victim we're going to talk about is Tessa Jordan, who was 16 at the time, who met Dahvie Vanity on Twitter after they exchanged phone numbers and they followed each other back. She claimed that she saw Dahvie Vanity not only groom but grope and assault multiple minors on tour and on stage, and his fans just overall, and has claimed to see multiple inappropriate acts, not only on the Chris Hansen show, but has spoke about multiple times against Dahvie Vanity. Now that we've talked about all the sexual assault allegations, well, some of them, like I said, there's a long list, and I'm not going to go over all of them. I will leave a thread to a Reddit thread down below, which has a list of, I believe, 50 of them. We're going to talk about the grooming of Dahvie Vanity and how he has sexted multiple underage women during his career. Back to 2008, there was Noah, an 11-year-old victim of Dahvie Vanity, or Jesus Torres. They originally met on MySpace, and Jesus Torres has groomed her and sexted her, which the conversation quickly turned very aggressively violent, according to Noah, very quickly after they began talking, and Dahvie continued to groom her and manipulate her and turned the conversation constantly sexual. Second grooming victim, which what a surprise, is Javon Monroe, who was 16 at the time and met David Jesus Torres on MySpace when they were both popular creators. Jesus Torres convinced Javon Monroe to join the band after he fired Garrett Ecstasy, who was the original bandmate, after a conflict, which I'm pretty sure was about Dahvie being a pedophile, but they blamed it on him stealing and I'm pretty sure doing drugs, but do not quote me on that. Javon Monroe later came out and told his abuse story of Dahvie Vanity and claimed that he held him hostage financially and did not pay him as much as he should have to be a band member, which he promised he would, and he had to get treatment for HIV, which he was rejected by Dahvie Vanity and did not have insurance at the time, so he was physically held captive for years by Dahvie Vanity. The victim we're going to talk about is Ash Costello, who was 26 at the time and was groomed and manipulated by Dahvie Vanity, and later came out about the mental abuse and torture that she faced at the hands of Dahvie Vanity while touring with him. Jeffree Star was also involved at the time which he toured with them as well, but never came out about it until it was convenient for him, which you guys already know how I feel about him, so let's not even get started on that. Like I said before, there's plenty of victims out there that I'm not going to cover because there's so many that I cannot fit it into this video, and there's some who want to stay anonymous or just don't want to come out at all, which I completely respect. It's a traumatizing thing to go through, and it's definitely very painful to deal with, and I completely respect them on their decision, whatever decision they make. However, I covered very certain parts of this topic that are very sensitive, and I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you would like to learn more about the cases of Dahvie Vanity, I will link them below, just in case you would like to learn more. With that, I hope you guys enjoy, and I will let you watch the rest of the video in peace.
To my youth, and you could call this the funeral. I'm just telling the truth, and you can play this at my funeral. Wrap me up in Chanel inside my coffin. Might go to hell and there ain't no stopping. Might be a sinner and I might be a saint.